Greetings, 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 wherever you might be watching, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or social media in general. I'm having a conversation, a discussion with Spirit Child, an entertainer, a rapper, a father, a mentor, someone who is pro liberation for our people, but not just our people alone, all peoples. Spirit Child, welcome.
Thank you so much. Peace, peace, peace. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm glad to have you today. I've been knowing you for a few years and last several years learning a lot about a lot of the work that you've been doing. And I'm glad to have you here to discuss some of that work, not just the work, but the importance of it, really, I guess you could say the reality, of it, and what it means, to the individuals directly involved, you know. When I say that, I speak about people, young people who are incarcerated, because I know that's something that you're dealing with. And then there's also, individuals who have been locked up for a number of years as a result of the fight for liberation. So those are two, I think very important issues that don't really get a lot of attention except to say that they're there,
Yeah.
But I think that there's a lot more that should be looked into and talked about to really bring, the humanity of these people, to the forefront so that, maybe people will care more than they actually do right now. So you've been dealing with the youth
Yes.
prison,
Mm-hmm.
in a program, that from what I understand, it's like mentoring. It helps them with music,
Mm-hmm.
and through music, it provides a form of self-expression because you're a musician yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you're a performer, you're a lyricist, you perform here in the United States, even internationally. In my opinion, you could have been famous a long time ago. But, at the heart of all you do appears to be this struggle, this fight for liberation. And one of the reasons why I wanted you, to be in this conversation is because, a lot of people out there doing a lot of things, and they publicize it, widely, but for a number of years have done these things, without trying to publicize anything, except to say, come join us,
Right.
but it's never been, to get a name for yourself or anything like that. And the work is not fluff and stuff, it's needed work. It's not, to me, it's like it's ministry, you know,
Mm-hmm.
when you, especially when you're dealing with, those who are oppressed, forgotten about throughout all society, falsely accused, that's ministry, so I want you to share, you know, what you do with the youth, how it's been received by them, and what's at the root, of that.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate you even seeing that, and saying that, seeing and saying that. They always have this saying, right, from your mouth to God's ears. So like that's how it goes. Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this for a long time. Right now, the programs that you're speaking of, I've been working with my partner Rosa, Urban Art Beat, and our relationship is fairly new. We've only been together for like 7 years. I've always done youth work, not necessarily in prison, but working with those who are either formerly incarcerated on parole, um, or whatever, through cases program. Choices is another program out there. Um, these are programs that we would set up studios at, through another organization, Art Start. I work with them. I work with the Dome Project. These people were like working with young 14 years old to about 21 who were either going to get a prison sentence or was already sentenced, um, and they needed an outlet to keep them in these organizations.
Not thinking of individualism, individual self, and I got to get money and I got to pass this exam and I got to I. But how does your freedom affect the community?
Camp actually happened in 2 parts this year. So there was a 6-week session once a week here at Diaspora Community Center, where we engaged the youth on the topics of sexual health and healthy relationships. They got to know UrbanArtBeat and our style. They developed some pieces, and that was the first 6 weeks.
I can't do it.
The point of having the audition is that the youth see how serious it is. We try to really create a culture of commitment where they're aware that they're committing to something and that they need to be a part of it the whole time. And then this year, we actually had the dual fold where we worked with a number of youth in a leadership capacity, so like getting them ready for camp, so they were able to run the auditions. And anytime the youth can lead, it's better.
Okay, I'm gonna try. How you gonna believe like that when I gave you all I had? I gave you the real me, told you all my feelings, then you gonna turn around in front like you don't feel me.
They got to know UrbanArtBeat and our style. They developed some pieces.
And how not to oppress the community with your freedom. How do we want the world that we live in to be? We start now.
You know, what was the extent that they were able to learn how to create music? Did they just come in and rap, or they actually learned, you know, the proper structure of how to write for
Yeah.
and record?
So yeah, we went into the auspice of our movement is hip hop, right? So we would have young people, as you know, in New York City. You know, you can throw a stone out there, you're gonna hit an MC. You know, so
Yes.
like our kids are so prolific, they're so talented. So most of them knew how to rhyme. You know, that was easy. But we brought in equipment and we taught them a lot of technology. You know, so we also brought in, we managed to bring in until they kind of shut us down with those things too. Laptops, so Pro Tools. They were working with Pro Tools, Logic. They were learning how to mix, master. They were learning how to produce their own beats to really be like self-sufficient. We were
Oh,
also
wait, all in prison. They were learning how to produce,
yeah.
master their own tracks.
So now you can stop it. Now try to get another instrument. So usually you want to preset and figure out what other instruments, bass, piano.
Piano, yeah.
I don't want you doing this.
Oh no, that was just me on the regular.
I'm saying, but we got the cameras here, so you have to be concerned. This is all. When you want to be a rapper, you can't be like this in front of the camera. You can't turn away from the camera. That's all I'm saying.
All right, cool.
You have to let the camera see you.
You know, that they can actually go out and sell, or actually go out and
Yes. We had by the end of our cycle, I got mad CDs because over there we couldn't really give them. We had to give CDs to the bubble, which is where the COs were, because they couldn't get them directly because of the kid. That was also a struggle because we couldn't bring CDs in because it could be used as a weapon. So the jewel cases were like also banned, but we were working with Friends of the Island Academy, and they had a major contract with the DOC. So they were looking for community partners like us who had the actual pedagogy to go in and the experience to work directly with the young people. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, like, even the COs used to be trying to get down with our program.
oh no, that's right.
The
I know
kids were
that's
like,
right.
they were like, yo, what's up? I rap too. I was like, nah, it ain't for you, bro.
This is one of the things that just floor me. The reason why I want to do this conversation in this interview, because you take it like, oh yeah, we just saw some, and to me, it's a big deal, because I mean, look at it. When you think about how many of our young people are in jail and they do a time and they come out, and because they got a record, they can't even get a job. What you've been providing is not just the ability to express yourself through music, to, say your point of view, but actually a skill.
Yeah.
You learn how to produce and create music, you now have the ability to go out there and produce your own. There's plenty of, things on social media where you can actually upload your CD, your music, and get paid for it. So they coming out of there with a whole host of things.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
and we taught them the business as well. You know, we taught them how to be independently sufficient. So we gave them the channels of CD Baby, how to put their stuff on iTunes, Spotify, like all those markets. We didn't just open an appetite. We like were also feeding and like sitting at the table and talking about what we're gonna have. We were cooking together. But like a lot of them really wanted to aspire to do this. And I was like, yo, chances are you may not get a record deal, but you can make records. You know what I'm saying? You don't need a record deal to make records. And like they were with it, even throughout, it wasn't directly with this program, but we had a young person that I work with because we also taught them to mentor. Like we mentioned earlier, that it was a mentorship and womentorship. We were with them and working with them. Even some of them who weren't artists, we were like talking about their comedy skits. Like we were making skits. We found any way to engage our young people. We just used hip hop as a language for communication. As soon as they saw that, they were like, y'all cool. So what's up? Y'all gonna censor me? Nah, we don't do that. We can use any beats you want. Word. Okay. You want to talk about this? And we bring in like Meek Mill, we talk about police brutality right there in the day room. And the CEOs are with it. We talked about revolutionary matriarchy. We talked about indigeneity. We talked about all the stuff that we use as artists, organizers on the outside. We brought that in by saying we just a hip hop program. And everybody wasn't denying it because the people that we brought in had skills. So they're like, okay, y'all not some like covert revolutionaries who are just, y'all kind of saying some radical shit, but y'all got some skills though. And so we were like out there spitting with the kids, like rhyming with them. I mean, one of them went to Europe, through this exchange because we have connections. So we were really like able to put people. Right now I'm working on a program to get some of those same youth who were formerly incarcerated, who are, behind enemy lines. Those same kids, we're hoping to have an opportunity for them next year, if things lighten up with COVID, to go out to Europe and bring a whole cohort out there. So we have ways of being like, yo, you could travel, you can still do your music thing, right? But it's gonna be different. So we've tapped into other organizations, and we work in prisons out there in Europe too.
hold on.
Just like, we work in prisons too.
Let me do a disclaimer. Okay. Don't be trying to get locked up so you can take advantage of any of this stuff that's being provided here. Okay, there's an easier way. I'm just trying to highlight what somebody is doing. Okay, because just don't get no ideas. I'm going to jail so I could become a producer. I'm going to jail so I can sell my whole CDs. Don't do that. Okay.
Don't do that. The reality is we do. I mean, I'm glad you said that because we actually do need young people who want to mentor. You know what I'm saying? In a way that is not directly like they're not involved, like court involved, anything like that, because we could do more. And we have a lot of hassles for those who have been locked up. It's been difficult getting passports and certain information to travel. So like it kind of messes up your record. You know what I'm saying? For many things, for many other opportunities. So even though there's a small window that we have to push, it's just harder. So I'm glad you said that because actually we need our young people outside, not inside. But we recognize that a lot of our young people are inside, which is why we prioritize the program. But we are also in schools too. So if you were in school, we could go to your school. We could just holler at your principal and be like, we could do online right now, whatever. Go to your school and bring some equipment and get it popping. Like we don't need to.
School, because school is about to open up. School is about to open up. Well, they say, I don't know.
They say, right? We don't know. We don't know what's going on with that. We say,
But I just think that this is so great. I think that is not enough has been said about it, and I think it's very valuable, for those who are involved in it. And I think that our youth need it. I think I know that from when I was young, several programs and things have been cut, until the point there's virtually nothing, for young men and young women out there in the streets, virtually nothing. And it's the same group who are habitually harassed by police, arrested, who, ultimately result to selling drugs or, doing, whatever. trying to, get some money in your pocket, So, and I think that rap, hip hop, you know, is a one tool that, allows a person self-expression, the ability to speak and have people feel what you're saying, and hear what you're saying. It does something for the individual because I think for the most part, a lot of our young people, they feel invisible, and that their voice is not heard. Here, is a way in which you can be heard. You can say exactly what you want to say, how you want to say it, and you could be heard. Not only can you be heard, it could be profitable for you. It's so many ways you could go with that. I never will forget Lil Kim when she started wearing the blue hair, the red hair, and thousands, of young black girls across the nation started, they had the orange hair, the purple hair. It tripped me out. I thought it was totally crazy because I would never wear that color hair, and I would not let any of my daughters wear any of that color hair. But what stuck out in my mind is the power, the influence, that came with that, and how it could be used so positively to influence our people, our youth, all youth, in fact, in a good and positive, right way. But, power is power and influence is influence, and you choose, the direction that you intend to use it. Or if you sign to a company, then they might tell you, no, this is the way we're going, and you may not have no say so about it at all.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think that for those
I'll tell
reasons, we need to take back that power, and that what you're
you, yeah,
doing that allows individuals, the tools, to develop and create their own, gives them the ability to direct their music the way that they choose, not the way they're being told to based on, some record company somewhere.
hmm hmm we
So,
had in Rikers, right? So there's like they go by tiers. So like if you on the higher you are, the more of a threat you are. So we had a program just to speak to how powerful like the music is, right? We had a program running at 5 top, which was the highest floor.
okay.
And they brought us up to the fifth tier, right? Where they had no privileges. I mean, these were the so-called like, I mean, you thinking it's prison, right? Like it's prison, but like even with that, there was like tiers of like, there's the rowdy, and there's and there's like the other ones who get like a little privilege with a tablet, which tripped me out. And they brought us in there, the ones that no one's gonna fuck with them. You know what I'm saying? No, nothing's gonna happen. It's not gonna be good. And they brought us up in there. Of course, they checking us out, looking at us. First day they like, so what's this? What's this? We got it on first day. They
Wow.
It's always the same thing. Like, say something. You and MC, let me hear something. And as soon as you do that, you break the ice. But I'm gonna tell you, there was never an incident when we were there. All them kids either had they had their iPods we brought in. They were writing with books. They were writing lyrics, right?
Wow.
Focused for hours.
Wow.
Focused. And they would tell us direct, because we would ask people like testimonials. And from New York City to Belgium, anywhere we were in prison, they said, anytime you guys came through, I swear I didn't feel like I was in prison. Those are the moments that I felt like I was not in prison.
Wow.
Straight from them. Like I'm just this, they will be in a meditative state. Hip hop, I know people got a different connotation. They were saying the most ratchet lyrics sometimes, but they were focused and they had an energy of calm and they were waiting. They'd be like, yo, because sometimes we would get held at the gate because of clearance. Yo, what's up? You guys are half an hour late. I was waiting for you.
Yo, that's hilarious because black folks ain't never on time for nothing. If you had them in there talking about, yo, where you at, you was making some progress.
No, I'm serious. And there was some times where I felt bad because we went there New Year's Day. We went there Christmas Day. Like if we had our schedule Monday and Wednesday, whatever the schedule we had, sometimes 3 days a week, we were there committed. We had people, I had white people going up under us. You know, like there were singers coming through. I mean, all different types of people. We brought people from Germany. We brought people from Belgium to come through speaking different languages. They shut that down though, because after a while they didn't let no more international people. We used to bring like 30 people
Wow.
to come through and just sit there and bring a show to them in the quarters of a day room, confined B-boys, B-girls, MCs, producers, and we just have I wish we were able to record it, because like those moments, we can't do that again, because they actually stopped our clearance, because it was like, you guys are getting too many people internationally in our prison. I think somehow that was a loophole we got, and they shut it down. So then we also couldn't bring more than like 3 or 4 people at a time. You know, we used to bring like 10, 15, 30 people. We brought international cast, like just smothered the gates, and they didn't want to do that paperwork because everything is in hand, you know what I'm saying?
In spite of COVID, I hope that this continues. What's the contact information and the name, you know?
Yeah, the name of the organization is UrbanArtBeat. So UrbanArtBeat's the organization. Here in Europe is Commusaic, like community Commusaic.
But can you like Google UrbanArtBeat?
Yeah.
Like
We got a website, urbanartbeat.org.
Because I got a feeling a lot of people gonna be reaching out to you soon.
Hey, reach out. There's contact info there. You know what I'm saying? You could even hit me up. You know, I'm not really good on the phone, but I'm on WhatsApp. You know what I'm saying? So that's an application I use, you know, as far as contact.
Programs like this that really make an impact, you know, in the life of our youth, you know, and I don't see it as a temporary impact, because they come away with tools that they can take with them for the rest of their life. These type of things should be funded and they should be supported. You know, we do a lot of, you know, marching and protesting, trying to get services and programs, you know, here in the city. But, you know, you have people, you know, such as yourself that's doing the work, you know, and they should be funded as well by the people, by our community. I think that's a good way for us to start supporting, you know, especially when you hear, you know, and you see the difference and the change that's being made. But there's another aspect of prison life and those who are in prison for the sake of the fight itself, for liberation, you know, for freedom. You know, I don't know how many of my generation or my children's generations are actually, you know, clear on the civil rights fight. You know, I think they're more clear on the civil rights fight in regards to a Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, but I don't think they're as clear on the fight in regards to, you know, the Black Panthers, the Young Lords, you know, those who was murdered, you know, in that fight, those who were sent to prison in that fight, and who, you know, some of which are alive today, you know, and still suffering underneath this oppression, you know, with just a handful of people that's, you know, trying, you know, their best to look out for them, you know, to make sure, you know, that they're treated fairly within that system. I wanted to ask you to talk about, you know, the brother who's locked up, who's, you know, despite his, you know, his conditions, they're trying to transfer him, and, you know, talking about why he's there and what it means, you know, for them to even attempt to transfer him, you know, under those type of situations and circumstances.
Yeah. So the brother you're speaking of is, you know, I'm with Formation Maroon Party for Liberation, and it's partly inspired by Russell Maroon Schultz, and then the other part is inspired by Maroons, the original Maroons. And I'll start with just talking about Russell Maroon Schultz. He's our freedom fighter, you know, just like Mumia Abu-Jamal, Tulu Shakur, you know, we still have political prisoners. And what kills me is that I hope people don't forget about them. You know, my direct, we call him Sensei, Fred Ho, is no longer living, but he trained me, and Maroon was his comrade, you know. So when he died, a lot of our organizing efforts, because we were working with the family as well, you know, his children are very well His son, Russell Maroon Schultz III, is alive and kicking and organizing out in Philadelphia. His two daughters, Teresa Schultz and Sharon, they still out there doing their thing. I mean, a lot of the Cubs, these are the kids of the Black Panthers. You know what I'm saying? They're, you know, our mentors are Black Panthers. Our mentors are young lords. You know what I'm saying? Like, they still here. Like, they still here. Fortunately, some of them are out, but unfortunately, a lot of them are still in. Russell Maroon just turned August 23rd. He just turned 77 years old.
Whoa.
77 years old. He should not be in prison. He shouldn't be in prison. There are people who are in prison for over 40 years. 40 years. Like, they serve. If this country says there's no war, look at the political prisoners. Because the people who are in prison were fighting a war. We still at war, and they're still prisoners of that war. If there is no war, there'd be no assassination from police. I'm not sure how clean this thing is supposed to be, so I'll try to be clean. I'll try to be clean because my partner says
say it like you feel it. You can say it like you feel it.
You know, so like we got people who are being assassinated, right? But then we also got our elders who, if they were fighting for freedom and we've obtained that freedom, so-called freedom, then they should be out.
Right.
But it's clear that they are not free, therefore we are not free. Some of our elders are dying in prison for what they have done, organizing with the Black Panthers, the Black Liberation Army. Like, Maroon got the name Maroon because he escaped from prison a few times. And Maroons are indigenous peoples, are African peoples who never wanted to be enslaved.
Okay.
Right? So we're talking about 1590, communities. There were sovereign communities. Garifuna people, people out in Loíza in Puerto Rico. There's people out in Venezuela, Suriname. Maroons exist.
They're
all Maroons. Yeah, they're Maroon communities. Quilombos in Brazil. Not everybody in these countries are Maroons, but there are Maroon communities. The Gullah Geechee in the Carolinas, those are Maroons. Like the ones that are living out there who were living off the plantation, who are resisting, who were also with the Seminoles, the Arawak, the Taino, the indigenous peoples of the Americas. Those were Maroons. They were always building, coalescing, marrying. Also, Europeans, white Europeans who chose not to be a part of this plantation state. They chose to organize like John Brown. They chose to fight with the Maroons for freedom. And they were not with the injustice that was going down, but they fought. So we actually organizing with some white people and be like, y'all gotta be like John Brown, because them cats took guns up to plantation owners and he was killed because he killed plantation owners. He put his life on the line and he was out there in the streets with his shotgun.
John Brown.
Shooting up races, that's right, John Brown. You know, check him out. Do some research. And all the people that are out there, do some research because y'all gotta learn like where we at. And this is the standard that we have to have white people who want to be in solidarity with Black, brown, and indigenous people. You gotta be like John Brown.
Okay.
You gotta be a white Maroon. You can't just be a white ally. Those times are over. So with Russell Maroon Schultz, just like all of our freedom fighters, you know what I'm saying? Like I got George Jackson right here. We just celebrated Black August, in the spirit of George Jackson, Nat Turner. Those, whether they incarcerate us for stealing $14 from a gas station and give us life in prison for that, or whether we actually shot a cop allegedly, or whatever we did supposedly, nobody should be under the horrific situations of the prison industrial complex. Like that, especially for our freedom. Like there is no excuse why elderly people are still dealing with that. So he was in Pennsylvania for a while. You can see how difficult this is, right? So his children, most of them are in Philly. They moved them out to Florida. And now I just got word from one of our Panther comrades that said his address changed again because they're moving him to Dallas. And they do this with our people. There's no reason and no need for that. One, if for any reason he has to be incarcerated in them concentration camps, if he has to be there, he should be close where his family is.
Right.
That's what he should be. He should be there. There should be like on the ground direct support, and people should be checking these people on their father's situation. You know what I'm saying? Directly.
So they're still waging an assault against him, even though they've locked him up. Okay, it wasn't enough that they locked him up. Even within that confinement, they are still making assaults against his life, against his person, against his well-being. You know, so I get it. I get it when you say if the war was over, then they shouldn't be locked out. Because not only is the war not over, but you can see, and like what they're doing in his case, that they are still on the same page concerning us and our people and those who tried to fight for that liberation. Because although you contained them and got them locked up in your prisons, you have not relented even inside those walls. So I think that's the part that needs to be put into the overall fight against injustice in this country. You know, when you're dealing with issues concerning police brutality and the murder, you know, because that entity is the tool used by this government, you know, to yet carry out its plans, you know, on people of color or all the undesirables of society. It has not changed. They have not changed, and the manner in which they deal with those who oppose this system has not changed. You know, yet somehow a lot of that aspect is not entered into the fight. When I say the fight, I'm speaking of the mainstream fight, because the mainstream fight, you know, stays along the narrative of no justice, no peace. Okay, but we don't go beyond that to talk about the real injustice, you know, that's occurring, that has never actually stopped. You know, you're almost prevented, you know, from doing so because, you know, you'll be accused of not being politically correct. You know, they want you to be polite when you're talking about how they murdering you. Okay, they want you to have, you know, have some courtesy, you know, when you talk about how they done locked up all your men. So I get it, you know, and I hope that, you know, the majority of us get it, and not just get it, but understand, like you said, the fight is ongoing. It ain't never been over. You know, I think part of that is the illusion that America likes to perpetrate on all of us, that the fight is over. So we could take the fallback position that the majority of us unfortunately have taken, you know, to feel that, you know, it's not that deep, it's not that serious, you know, a little tweak here and a little tweak there will fix it. You know, all we need is just pass one or two laws, you know, and that'll be okay.
Right.
Reform them, change your ways, and everything will be fine.
Negotiations, no. You know, we don't want the apologies or reparations looks like, to me, real practical. Free all of our political prisoners, right? That's what apology looks like. Have community control, us controlling all the institutions that are within our communities. Education system, the fucked up police, like everything. Dismantle, abolish, destroy. That's an apology right there. Now we can start talking. You know what I'm saying? If we ain't doing that, there's no need for you to ask me to come to your table, because it is a, you know, Malcolm said, only a fool would allow the oppressor to educate their children. Now, why would I speak to an unjust system about justice? Why would I protest to that? Why would I acquiesce to that strategy when that hasn't worked for us? It doesn't work for us. You know what I'm saying? So like, to me, any organization, like, you know, some Panthers put it real clear to me. They were just like, yo, keep the programs, because what we did, we had programs in the community. They knew where to find us, and we were doing the work. right? We have offices or whatever, a clear platform. People on Staten Island, we organize a lot around here. People know where we live. We got a RBG flag just waving out there. Ain't nothing but racist police out here. We let it be known who we are and what we're doing, right? They know where to find us. We're in prison. You know what I'm saying? You know where we are, because now I question all the organizations, and this is just a love slap, a love tap. All the organizations that don't have political prisoners as their conversation, the freedom of political prisoners. I question organizations that are not setting up programs and working with our young people. I question those who are fighting for liberation. If you don't have these platforms and institutions or counter institutions in place, I question your place in our revolution. Maybe you don't know. Maybe somebody needs to tell you. Maybe right now we're telling you and saying, step it up and do something tangible in our community so that we can see the trail. You know what I'm saying? We need the trail, because all that rhetoric and rah, rah, rah. Meanwhile, we got these, you could talk about, oh, well, I had people, we used to talk to us, you know, why are you working within the prison? Don't you know we trying to abolish prisons? Well, don't you know a lot of our kids are in those fucking prisons?
Right.
Who gonna work with them? We gonna wait? We gonna wait. You really? No, I'm gonna go into prison, and I'm gonna go where they are, and I'm gonna work with them. So you can keep out here with your rah, 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 and blah, 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 and I'm gonna be out there building with our Bloods and Crips out there, chilling. That's another thing I didn't talk about, working on music together. That's what we was doing out there. Y'all can talk about what y'all want to talk about. I know what we need to do. If you ain't doing that, you just talking. You know, kids know where to find us. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where to find you outside of this demonstration. I don't know where you at. I don't see you. I need to see you.
Sometimes you gotta wait till somebody be murdered. Oh, there you go. I see you now.
Okay. You all right? You good? It's been a while. How about now? How about now? So yeah, I mean, I say this because, you know, I try to chill, but I think it's important this time right now. You know, maybe not everybody could do everything. You know what I'm saying? But you can do something, right. And you could be accountable to something, some organization. You know, some kind of organization that's going to hold you accountable, even with your mind, right? Like the ideology that we need to develop to be able to have the strength to deal with the brainwashing that's happening in the media. Like, it's a mind fuck out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think you don't got to do that counter work? You got to keep reading. You got to keep unwashing your brain, because they infiltrate in every way they can. Absolutely. Every way they can. They're making us docile. We were talking about it earlier. Reformist, liberal. I talk to my partner all the time. We train people, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm compassionate, but when you up in here, you know, it's a revolutionary rites of passage. That means you're gonna sweat. It's gonna be uncomfortable. You're gonna get mad. You're gonna curse me out. I don't care. Like you gotta go through this. Everybody gotta go through this. Be uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Because people are too comfortable. They think that revolution is something that you could just show up at, and when you don't like it anymore, you can just leave.
It is an ongoing fight. You know, I think we all.
It's a holistic one, right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like your mind, your body, your soul, your spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very holistic, and we have to arm ourselves in all those avenues. And I even tell my moms when we have our prayer circles and stuff, I be telling my mother, like, you know, the Zapatistas did this. You know what I'm saying? I was out there in Chiapas, Mexico, and they were doing this campaign. It's called the Other Campaign, La Otra Campaña. Just before they did that in early 2000, when they set out to tell and let the world know, like, yo, we still here. We still, like, we don't have bread. We don't have corn. Like, you guys killing us. You know what I'm saying? We, the indigenous people of Mexico, y'all killing us still. Before they set out, there were ceremonies, and we were invited to some of their ceremonies. They said they were sitting down there and praying. And they were spiritual warriors who were arming themselves before combat. And people don't understand. We need everybody. You go to church, pray. Like, pray like your life depended on it. Like, it ain't no joke out here. Because it does. That's right. Because it does. But that better be, if that's your only work, make it count. Make it count. Don't do no half-ass prayers. Like, be praying. If you out here in the streets, be out here in the streets. If you out here educating your mind, academic, whatever, you better use us, make a blueprint a map for somebody to fucking work with. Do something, make it accessible, and make it holistic. I'm with all these actions, but you gotta be like, don't be mediocre. Just don't be mediocre. Like, we gotta go hard. We gotta go hard.
You know, I can't see anybody who is conscious or woke, who has a clear idea on history, particularly our history in this country, you know, what was done, what was the results of it, and how these systems within this country alone function and operate. You know, how you not appealing to a higher power. You really believe that you and you alone, on your own withal, you just gonna get out there and you're gonna say and shit gonna change, right? Okay, I feel you, but I don't prescribe to none of that right there. You know, none of that right there.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's like the same people who are, I mean, I think this is the problem, right? Like there's the disconnection. Same people who forget about their ancestors are probably the same ones who forget that there is a higher power, you know, and our ancestors are the ones that remind us, because when they transition, we still pay homage to them. And if you don't believe that, you're not paying attention, or you should have been doing something to pay homage to them. Like, even if it's not your own we do this all the time. I mean, even those people do that, right? Even the oppressor does that. They pay homage to their ancestors, and they holding down a line.
Yes.
Right? And they believe in a God. It may not be the same one we believe in, but they believe in a God. They believe in something they're holding it down for as well. And you got to get your elements up.
Almost, the thought just occurred to me that, you know, I wonder if it should even be mandatory to have some form of spiritual training. Not saying that you got to prescribe to any particular thing, but training, you know, that brings you into awareness that, you know, we are more than flesh. You know, there are entities and powers that influence, you know, the workings of the world. You know, there are individuals, you know, who appeal to certain entities. Some are good, some are evil. You know, if you didn't believe that, you know, you could look at, well, I'm not even gonna go there about certain individuals in the government and stuff that they be doing and stuff they call on in order to get in office and maintain themselves in office. But I'm saying, okay, we need to get, yeah, you know, we need, I mean, you can look at, you know, the different various, you know, religions, particularly the ones that pertain to us and our people, you know, how things have been said about it to turn you off from even looking into it, because it's taboo, because it's a whole bunch of things that all mean you shouldn't look into that. You know, why they try to hide it? Why has it been perverted? You know, and the true meaning, purpose, and intent being hidden or turned into something negative is because that's something that they don't want you to investigate, to be a part of, because of the power that's there. They rather have you powerless. You know, the thing about capital countries, this one in particular, and how it makes its money, you know, is solely, you know, well, I won't say solely, but if not solely, the vast majority of it, you know, the reason why they can make money and profit off of you is by convincing you, persuading you, and telling you that you ain't shit to begin with. Okay, you too fat, you too black, you know, you too this, you need that. You need a whole host of things in order to be happy. And if you don't have these things, you ain't nothing, you ain't nobody, you ain't going nowhere. We even create a society that judges you based on what you look on. So you can't even get into the door when you show up if you don't look like what you're supposed to look like. All of that, the bottom line is they make money off of you buying stuff and obtaining material things so you could feel like you're all that in a bag of chips. But when you get into the truth of who you are, you'll find out I was already a bag of chips when I rolled up here. Thank you very much, because I'm divine. I come from the creator and he don't make no garbage. So I think when we renew our mind and get into that kind of consciousness, you know, then we'd be like, hold up, no, you're not treating me any old kind of way. No, I am not going to stay silent and accept your murders of my people by police because you got a law that says you can't do nothing about it. That sounds like a problem you got, not one that I'm going to have, and you need to fix that. Or this whole thing is going to do a reversal because we're not accepting that no more because we understand clearly we don't have to. We don't have to. You know, the problem is that, you know, we don't want to give up what we got because there's sacrifice involved. You know, everybody is going to have to choose on what side of the line they stand on. And the reason why people don't come full throttle in this fight is because they're afraid of what they're going to lose. You know, if you're rich and you're wealthy and you got money, your cash flow might stop. So you're not going to say the shit that you know that you need to be saying until a whole bunch of people, like right now in America, is saying it. Now you come out and say, oh, police killing is wrong. It's been wrong since the day they did it, and you wasn't saying nothing. But now you feel safe because it's popular to say Black Lives Matter. Okay, 3 and 4 years ago, your niggas wasn't saying shit. Okay, and you had the platform and you had the resources to make shit happen, but you didn't want to go there and do that because you was afraid it was gonna mess up your cash flow. I get it, but then don't be arguing and complaining when people is burning shit up. Y'all act like y'all don't know. Y'all act like y'all don't understand what the problem is. Okay, I'm done. This is your.
Hey, bring it. I'm telling you, I said, it's a collaboration.
Oh my goodness.
What you saying, I think there is a point, and I think definitely we have to remember not to forget, you know, and I think that's what, just moving in from Black August, you know what I'm saying? Like we honor Black August. Like I don't even remember how many years I've been doing it. Definitely, it's been probably at least 15, probably pushing close to like 2 decades of like commemorating, fasting, you know, during the month, trying to reduce all boisterous activity and just, you know, just in the spirit of George Jackson and all that. There's material out there, but a lot of people don't know about this. Even within our Black liberation struggle, this is not something that has been principled. You know what I'm saying? And during this time, we talk about the Nat Turner Rebellion, you know? We talk about Fred Hampton, you know, his birthday was the 30th. You know what I'm saying? We talk about revolutionaries and revolutions that sparked, because August is a hot month, especially activity for Black people.
Yeah.
Watts riots, like, yo, many things have happened in August that just that month alone needs attention. And they gave us February Black History, right? Or somebody did. I don't know who gave it to us. But, you know, Black History, we know, is every day. But at the same time, we should also remember Black August, because that is the time, you know, August 21st, 1791 was like the beginnings of the Haitian Revolution.
I was about to ask you, when did that happen? Was it? I was about to ask you, did that happen in August?
Yeah,
it did.
In August, yeah, it was August, and then obviously everybody knows 1804. But the French got their asses kicked, and they remembered that, which is why Haiti is still paying that price. Which is why when you talk about earlier, you was talking about certain religions getting stigma. Voodoo, it is a bad word in any Western hemisphere, or I think even throughout Europe too. You want to talk about no ancient African religions that people are practicing, because that was something that helped kick their ass too, right? They were the ones, they were honoring that. That was something within their religious practice. So they're not going to put that on top.
Right.
Like because they never apologized for the shit they've done. They're not going to, and they're going to keep oppressing us in that particular way through media, through this is better for you. This is the way you need to practice your religion. This is the way you need to look in public. This is how you're supposed to dress. Your hair should not look like that. You look like a raggedy maroon. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like we have, you know, I'm just saying, like we are who we are. Like we are beautiful, but that self-determination is what we have to do again. And that's what a lot of our work comes in. We work with our young people because we feel they ain't gonna look at us like, what the fuck are you talking about? See, there's a key. There's a reason why we work with young people. Right. You know, not because they only cool. They definitely cool, but they're a bit more open, right? So I'd rather talk and struggle with a 17-year-old. Mm-hmm. You put a 37-year-old in my face who act like they know it all. I'm about to slap the shit out of them. I'm like, I can't. I'm gonna lose my fucking cool. So I'm more patient with our kids. I'm like, All right, go ahead. Tell me what you got. What you got to say. And we build through that. You know, we build through that. But that self-determination that you're talking about, I think we lost that. And I think what the Panthers and the Young Lords were doing of like, yo, you black, you divine, you beautiful, you are the bag of chips, you are all that, you everything. That, we don't have that anymore. That's not really apparent. I mean, you got people cocky for some other reason, not because they think they're beautiful.
Right.
There's a different conversation right there.
Right.
It's a different trauma that they're dealing with and a different energy. So we got to go back to that root and really bring that out. You're brilliant, you're beautiful, and you're brave. Like, that's what Brother Tariq always tells me, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, Black Panthers, like, yo, just tell people, I've been doing that everywhere. You're brilliant, you're beautiful, and you're brave.
It's a must because, you know, a lot of mental damage has been done. You know, I feel like when you black, from the time you get here, they go to work on you, messing up your head from the time you get here.
Yes. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard, but it's harder when you act like you sleeping and like you really can't sleep through this storm. Like, come on. Like, y'all, like, you know, like, you can't ignore it. You can't pretend it's not happening because we need more people to like, to fortify, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got to build. We can't do it by ourselves. That's why everybody builds this like mind. And I do believe that we have to have a holistic revolution. I do think like there's no coincidence why I met you and I organized with you and I've done stuff with you and there's certain people in my life that I'm like, I think we've been doing this for lifetimes. You know, I think people have been coming together more and more. And I feel like there's no other way. Like, you can't just meet somebody and develop that mind and start being like, let's go, let's roll, let's do this, let's do that. Like, you have to have some kind of kindred soul connection. And that has to be a spiritual thing. And you got to acknowledge that. And the less we acknowledge that, the less tools we have to chip away at this oppression. Like, you just spite in your face right now, taking your nose off. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need everything you can have, everything. I don't believe in division. I mean, in that particular way, I believe in calling a fake a fake. If you're a reformist, you ain't a revolutionary. I like that divide. But if you're a revolutionary and you got a church and you want to go to a mosque and you want to go to a temple, blah blah, but hey, you revolutionary. You ain't oppressing people. Let's work this out. Let's all do this together. You know.
I think there needs to be clarity even on that, because I think that, you know, many of us haven't even given it that much thought, you know, or even pose the question, you know, are you an abolitionist? Are you a reformist? What, you know, we just following what we see before us, or trying to, you know, follow even things that was done in the past without really knowing, you know, the basis and the intent behind the actions that was taken. You understand? I don't think we, you know, where would we learn it from unless we were fully vested, you know, in learning what occurred? You know, what was the Young Lords really about? What was the Panthers really about? You know, what did they do? Why were they doing this? You know, if we don't understand it to a certain degree, you know, we'll set up stuff minus the principles.
Yeah. And that's the thing. There's a lot of people who've been speaking, veteran Panthers and veteran Young Lords recently, and the Black August programs that we was doing, and they were like, yo, please, people, do your homework. There's some people that will have you believe that only thing that the Panthers and the Young Lords were doing was free breakfast programs and clothing drives. We were trying to overthrow this racist fucking government. Thank you very much. We were trying to build a socialist economy by any means necessary. We're doing a lot more than that, although that was also powerful, and that's definitely a mark. But like, you have to be careful who's packaging what, and there's a reason why they package that, right? Like, people don't talk a lot about what Malcolm X was doing when he was building with Martin Luther King. People don't talk about Fred Hampton when he built the Rainbow Coalition, the original Rainbow Coalition, how he organized white people who were waving Confederate flags, organized them and said, y'all the proletariat. They fucking you up just like they fucking us up. So, you know, the cops don't give a fuck about you either. And they started rolling. The American Indian movement, everybody. That's why it was raining all colors. Red, black, white, yellow, like everybody together. Let's do this. And they were like, yo, we got to do it like that but we don't know, even when we hear about these little stars in our education, we have to do more. Because when you open the portal a bit more, you'd be like, oh, they were starting a blueprint towards prefiguring a new society, and they were working together, and they were working on this. This is what we need to pick up. But
See,
we don't have that education, you can't do that.
and that's exactly what I was getting ready to ask. I was listening to you share all those things, and a thought occurred to me. I wonder, you know, what would have happened, you know, had those uh, those actions, those organizations not been interrupted. Because now, even if you read about it and you learn about it and you say, I'm feeling this seems right. I agree with the principles. I'm going to apply it. We're still starting from a point that never matured and grew past or never saw, the manifestation of the ideal that it had in mind, to where when we start, we're always going backwards, to what was, at the point that it was interrupted, and even if you're a person who, you respect, you admire King, because people like to say that he was murdered. He said, I fear, that I've led these people into a burning house. Okay, so you wonder what would have been the next course of action then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yet although we acknowledge that he said this and we acknowledge that he had that revelation, a revelation of some kind, when people start, they still go back to where he was. They still say nonviolence, nonviolence.
Mm-hmm.
No, no, no. How can you, on one hand, say he feared that he was leading people into a burning house, and then you go back to where the point where he was before he had the revelation, and from that point you start a fight? No, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, because he came into a different kind of understanding. Okay, so why are you going back to, no non-violence, we'll hold hands? And I'm not pushing, violence or anything. I'm sharing information, hopefully to provoke thought, hopefully
Yeah.
that people will say, well, maybe we ain't dealing with this the right way. Maybe there's
Mm-hmm.
another way that, we need to follow. Maybe we should take the principles, and apply those, maybe, my thing is, constricting and confining ourselves to everything that was done in the past. Because here's the thing, from what I've read and from what I've learned, from any of them, if you talk about civil rights leaders or if you talk about young lords and Black Panthers, none of them had like a book or blueprint. They acted out of conscience, and then they educated themselves and looked at, okay, what was done over here, what was done over there. I think at the end of the day, you know, conviction should lead you. Conviction, conviction.
Yeah.
I think you should go forward on conviction, on, what you know to be true, just, right, and fair, and less, emulating and duplicating, in order to really do something new, to realize, a new reality. Because, one is coming, ready or not,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just a matter of, where we'll be, because many of us won't be, many of us are not going to be here. Many of us are leaving already, and I don't know if there's enough time to even get on one accord, but I know the one accord, is a righteous one, and I think that everybody who loves human beings, who loves life, I think that there is an accord that we all can get on, regardless of what your belief is, your hue of skin, or what side of the world you are on. It's just a matter, I think, of tapping into it, and allowing it, to resonate and flow forth, that it pulls, everybody who's supposed to be there, and then it multiplies and it duplicates, almost on its own by virtue of that energy, by virtue of that power, you know, and maybe becomes less work because I don't think you really have to work hard at being your divine self. I think that when you are in purpose, it ain't work for you. I think that, when you have that with you, it's easier, to share and impart real things, love, genuine sincerity, and, it's not an issue if you're going to fight for what's right, because in your consciousness, no other way. There's no other way. And I think that's the thing. I think we sometimes focusing too much on a lot of little stuff that really don't have nothing to do with nothing at the end of the day.
Right, right. I mean, the issue of I always thought about this, and I like to. That's why I tell people, like I'm an artist. I don't know which one I was first, but I'm definitely an artist. I'm a spiritualist. I'm a revolutionary, and I tell people like allow the artists to dream and to imagine what maybe others feel like is too taboo to talk about. Like I write music about about the days of the Black Liberation Army. You know what I'm saying? When if a cop they knew shot and killed somebody, cats would come on they knocking on their door. They know where they patrol and they shoot back. You know what I mean? Like that's history. It happened.
Let
You
me
know what I'm
say,
saying? Like
wait. Let me say this. See now.
I'm just saying.
See now. No. Because I need to say this. Because I said this the other day. And since you're saying that, I'm saying it. See now what you said right there. Do you know the kind of flack that you would get, from certain individuals for simply saying that? But nothing in what it's nothing wrong with what you said. It's nothing wrong with, everything is right. But we live in a climate where we can't even say that, and something is wrong with that. It's like they put a zipper on the mouth so that you cannot say such a thing. You're not supposed, you could get on social media or any platform and you could talk about what your neighbor did to you. If your neighbor did, I kill him. You can say that. Especially if you're talking about Black folks. You can say that all day. I'll do that. Say that about a cop. They come see you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they'll come see you. Oh, you saying the stuff on social media about, you can't, why?
You're inciting things or whatever, like.
But if it's true that this cop just killed a family member, okay, and if it's true that y'all niggas said y'all ain't see nothing wrong with what he did, okay, that's what you said. He's justified, no wrongdoing. Okay, I have every right to feel and think and say whatever the fuck I want to say about it, because I gave you a shot. You fucked up. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. My goal. That's how I feel. My goal. Okay, and you got nothing to say about it. Same thing with people that's out here, rioting or whatever. I don't understand how people's complaining and fix their mouth because you had a shot for the longest time to get this right. And you still playing. Okay, even with George Floyd, everybody came out of the woodworks. Oh, that's so terrible. The politicians, they ran scrambling. Yes, we're making this reform, that reform, all of it bullshit. All of it. All of it. So even in the midst of nationwide protests where the world is watching, you still playing games. And you talking about why people rioting? Why people burning stuff down? Yo, you bringing it on yourself. You bringing it on. You are producing this. You look at what you do. How long you supposed to think people stupid? Okay, you had a good long run at that shit. Okay, we don't find no wrongdoing. Okay, we investigated. We are so sorry. You had a good long run at that shit. Now people's like, yo, y'all full of shit. Y'all always full of shit. That's how y'all gonna be. Okay, we not messing with you. We not singing no more. No justice. Yo, I've been to protests where they sing no justice, no peace, and the motherfucking police is on the sidelines singing along with them. Okay, mocking them. Okay, how am I supposed to feel about that? What? It's a game. It's embarrassing. Right now, at this point, we should have our head down in embarrassment and shame at the amount of games that they have played with us. Okay, in your face on video. They killing
Well,
people.
that's what. Right.
Not just killing people, okay, but telling you it gonna take them 3, 4, 2 months to figure out, if there's any wrongdoing. How you sit up and accept that? Help me understand. I don't understand. Y'all, everybody saw it. Everybody saw it. Everybody in the street screaming, it's wrong, it's wrong. And they told you, we ain't figured out yet if we gonna bring any charges. We're still investigating. But if it was my black ass, you wouldn't need an investigation. As soon as you come arrest me, within 72 hours, you have charges on me. I'll be going before the judge. But every single situation where it's a cop, you got to figure shit out. You got to understand if you're going to charge somebody. And when you arrest me and people that look like me, ain't no video. Okay, your word is enough to bring charges. So now you tell me that you could kill people on video, the whole fucking world could watch it, and you get to sit up there and twiddle your fingers and decide whether or not you're going to bring charges. That's bullshit all day, all day. And I don't know why we accepting it. I don't know why I don't. It's not acceptable to me to do nothing. Something need to be done. Listen, people are doing a whole bunch of things, but I don't think that this fight has risen to the level of the atrocities being committed. That's all I'm gonna say. We ain't there yet. We ain't there. We ain't there with that. We ain't there with even fucking reparation. Because you can't be black and feel you owe reparations. And you just finished watching them give trillions and trillions of dollars away in a relief package. Come back and re-up again and give out some more trillions and trillions of dollars. But you black, they owe you reparations, and they ain't denied it. They say, yeah, we owe you that money, but we not paying you. You in chill mode? You accepting that? And there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 8 other nationalities. They all came to the United States and said, y'all owe us reparations. They paid them. And your black ass, they told you, yeah, we owe you that money. They even got quotes about how much they think it might be, and still told you, no, we not giving you none of that. None of that. How you sit there and there's no fight. There's no fight. I don't see no fight, no push for that. And I don't understand. I'm like, we don't got no leaders. Where they at? We don't have nothing. So I don't get it. I don't know what kind of drug that is, what kind of spell that is, that, they could just say anything, do anything, and, folks is cool with it. It's like, oh, okay. All right. I know they do that all the time.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is I think that's the miseducation. I think that's where we have to ante up. I mean, there's definitely levels to it, right? But I think if we teach our children, like what Malcolm would always say, right? Like we have to change the narrative. Like, we're not violent. America's violent. You know what I'm saying? They're the one, but they speak the language of violence. You're an idiot if you're going to try to speak nonviolence to violent people. They don't speak that language. Mm-hmm. So maybe the reason why things keep happening and we're not getting the picture yet is because we're not speaking the same language, And what I think, at least from what I love and I still adore and honor of the Black Liberation Army, is that they were speaking the language. And I think this, at very least, those actions occur where it becomes an eye for an eye. At very least, you're probably gonna have some white cop think twice before they pull out their holster. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might have that, because right now they don't even care. They're like, what's that? Ain't nothing gonna happen to me. Who gonna come to my door? Exactly. Ain't nobody gonna come to me. At least you got people thinking, yo, somebody, not the whole world is watching, but the whole world's probably ready to shoot you. Like, there's a big difference between the whole world watching with a camera and the whole world watching through a fucking scope. You know what I'm saying? So, like, maybe we need to change that language a little bit. And all I'm saying is, if our art can't do that, if our pedagogy, philosophy, statements can't do that, then we definitely way far behind. But maybe the start is we need to start having that public discourse and making sure people are uncomfortable and saying, oh, you think I'm violent because I'm saying this? Look at where we live in. You don't see something? You don't see something that needs some kind of violent intervention? You don't see that? What you gonna do with that? A white sheet? What you gonna do with that? You gonna be over your body? What you gonna do with that white sheet? Like, what you gonna do with that? Who you talking to? Like, I'm just saying, listen, all I'm saying is, we all, look, all I'm saying is we all need to figure some shit out, and we gotta use everything that we could to figure it out, right? Because if we gonna start limiting our options, because cats is uncomfortable talking about things, we ain't never gonna get freedom. We ain't never gonna be free. Maybe I can't do that, but maybe somebody else wants to. And you know what? Like I said earlier, look, how about we stop protesting on 42nd Street and these major squares where all these businesses are? Why don't the business that we protest is a fucking police officer's apartment, house? Why don't we go to the kid? Now, somebody told me it was a little harsh, and I have to think about it. Is it harsh? They were like, I said, well, you know, we could also step it up and take the rallying, right? And be like, and start shaming like the parents. Be like, oh, look at your husband. You look at your husband. And then go to kill a cop. And then go and then God forbid somebody go to the children's school and say, you know, your father is a racist killer police officer. Somebody was like, you know, that's a lot of trauma for that kid. What? I said, trauma for the kid. Trauma for the kid. That's right. That's what we need to start having that conversation then. I mean, look, if it's uncomfortable for some people because they don't want kids to be traumatic or traumatized.
Listen.
Well, look at our generation. Look at us.
Somebody cast a spell on people. That's what I
right. And this is what we have to change that dialogue. That dialogue we can start talking about it though. I mean, I think this is why it's important. I think it's important to organize in a manner of what we want to envision. Maybe we're not going to be there right now, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of like young kids, and I'm talking to these 14-year-olds who are like, I'm trying to step up and punch a motherfucking Nazi. What are y'all doing right now? And I'm like, oh shit. Okay. It's like, well, I was like, wait a second. I told you, I was like, I gotta talk to your mother about it.
The youth in every generation have always been more gully than the adults before them. I noticed that in every single solitary.
That's why they should be leading though. All the organizations and people that you talking about.
I don't have a problem with the youth leading, but I think that they need to be educated. They need to be informed because I don't support taking no youth and letting him run off his energy or his anger. No, sit your little ass down and you need to learn some things. Okay? Because that's like
some of the things that the parents said. They said this. They said there was one story about one of our brothers who's a veteran Panther. And they said, yeah, I can't. We were interviewing them a while back, and they said, man, if you would have saw the look on this brother's face when he said it, he said, yeah, you know, he saw him come in. He was about 14 years old, and he was talking on the streets, talking about like, yeah, I'm gonna join the Panthers. I'm gonna like give me a gun. I'm gonna shoot some white people. Like he was all excited. And then they brought him in, and it was like real calm. And then one of the person who brought him in opened the drawer. He's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get down to it." And he took out some books, and he put it in his face, and he said, "Now arm yourself with that before we give you a gun." Exactly. And that's what they always did. They never gave any. You didn't come up in there rank and file, coming in shooting at nothing. No, you served the people. You organized. You were disciplined before you even touched a gun, before you even touched a gun. And I'm with you on that, but I believe that our young people are in the process of that education. I mean, they're being educated. They're looking at the media. They're reading things. They've seen all this stuff. And there are people that are talking to them. You know what I'm saying? I feel like as long as they keep having that guidance, I think they need to be in positions where they can actually express that particular power, right? Even through a statement, even through something that is more serious than just a tokenism of, we have young people. And that's what we're trying to do right now, actually being like, okay, you know how to write, you know how to read, you know how to articulate the actions that you want. Now, here's a platform. Organize. Let us know what you want from us so that you can do what you need to do. Now, even the young sister was like, yeah, I'm doing my training for like the next 5 years. I don't think I'm quite ready to go out there and punch a Nazi because I think there's a lot more to that. I'm like, yeah, there's a lot more to that. There's a lot more to that, you know, so you got to learn that. And you got to know once you open that door, you said it early, once you open that door, you hear it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't close it to be somebody else.
Right.
People know where you are. They know where you live. They know who you are. They know what you're about.
That's
You
right.
can't, that shit ain't gonna go away. So you black, you're revolutionary. Yeah, you've been in trouble. Let's get into some trouble. Like, you've been in trouble. It's been uh-oh for you for a long time. Like, uh-oh. what? A long time. So if you're worried about me saying something that's too harsh, you might want to check your blackness or check what you are, because we've been that. We've been targets. We've been targets. We've been targets. So I'm just saying.
Yo, we got to do this again.
Okay, yes, I'm down. I'm down.
We really got to do this again. I don't know who gonna watch this long ass broadcast because we've been on here for a minute. But if they do, hey, it's worth it as far as I'm concerned.
I will tell you like maybe off or whatever. But if you want to, just drop in a video here and there. I mean, you got the skills. There's some videos that we got, especially the young people. Just boom, boom, boom. We talk about that. We don't have videos of our program in prison, but we have videos of work with young people. Maybe that might help with,
Send me the info on where to send it.
Okay.
All right. And we're gonna talk after this anyway.
Okay. Good.
Yo, I appreciate you immensely for being here. I really do. And thank you for sharing and all the stuff that you're doing. And half of the stuff didn't even get discussed, what you be doing. But I really appreciate, everything that you're doing. And, more to come.
I appreciate you for finding other platforms and ways. And I know it's still a struggle for you. And I just, every time you hit me up, anytime, I'm always there for you. I love and appreciate your energy and your vibe, and anything that you do, I support 500%. So let's figure out how to get our maroon party to actually adopt. And we should talk more, maybe when we talk the next time, but we should talk more about what action steps you're talking about or you need from people other than sharing, the campaign and all that petition that you're working on, but what you actually need to formulate, and maybe we can activate some of our people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I definitely get back to you on that.
All right, good. Right on. Peace. And all power to the people. Pa'lante siempre, everybody. We love y'all and see y'all on the streets or wherever you organize with us. Catch you out there.
Right on.
When it comes down, don't you be afraid. When it comes down, no matter what name you call. George Jackson.
Ashe.
Fred Hampton.
Ashe.
Amiri Baraka.
Ashe.
Marcus Garvey.
Ashe.
Malcolm X.
Ashe.
Fred Ho.
Ashe. Not thinking of individualism, individual self, and I gotta get money and I gotta pass this exam and I gotta I, but how does your freedom affect the community and how not to oppress the community with your freedom? How do we want the world that we live in to be? We start now.